Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, who appeared among us, the black man and woman here in America, in the person of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his divine servant and messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we can never ever give praise and thanks to Allah for coming and finding us. Those of us here in America who were styled as the lost sheep in the wilderness of North America. Never ever thank him enough for raising up in our midst the man that I just mentioned, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet my brothers and sisters in the greeting words of peace and paradise once again, in the greeting words of the original language that was stolen from us, of Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Muhammad's Temple of Islam United Sunday lectures. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your family members that the Sunday lectures are on the air. We welcome you, brothers and sisters. We welcome you. My name is Brother. We want to emphasize that. Minister Abdul Haq Muhammad. I am a member of the Nation of Islam. And we thank you, all of those of you who are listening, regardless of what region you are in. We welcome you to our Sunday lecture. And we hope and pray that when you listen, when you view this here, that you learn something that you can use in your everyday life for yourself, your family, and your community. Whenever we come together, brothers and sisters, we always open up in prayer, regardless of what denomination of religious thinking that you have, your religious school of thought, regardless if you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're an atheist, if you are a Buddhist, if you're a Black Hebrew Israelite, whatever you may be, whatever God that you believe in. And if you don't believe in any God, we ask you to join us in the Muslim opening prayer. We stretch our hands out like this, and we pray in this manner. The Muslim opening prayer. Surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright to he who has originated the heavens and the earth, and I'm not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate has he, and this I am commanded. I am those who submit. O Allah, thou art their king, and there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. And grant me protection against all my faults. For none grants protection against faults or all faults but thou. And guide me into the best of morals. For none guides into the best of morals but thou. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away the evil and the indecent morals but thou. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful and the followers of Muhammad successful here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. For surely thou art praised and magnified. Amen. Once again, brothers and sisters, we thank you for joining us on Muhammad's Sunday lecture meeting site. We pray, Allah, that you are well, your family is well, and that you're receiving the blessings that is bestowed on each and every one of us. We have a subject today, and I want each and every one of you, brothers and sisters, to listen very carefully, because what I want to convey to you is very, very important for the survival of the Black man and woman in America, and really Black people all over the earth. And even all those that hear this could learn and be able to receive what is necessary for each and every one of you. For the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, in his wants and beliefs, he said, if you accept this, you will have peace, happiness for the human families of the planet Earth. Our subject, brothers and sisters, in this subject is something that you hear Black people talk about all the time. Unity. The title of the subject is Unity More Powerful Than Nuclear and Hydrogen Bombs. Let me say that again. Unity is more powerful than atomic and a nuclear bomb. That is a direct quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's a statement that he made. And many of us are all familiar with that. Why unity? Why do we need unity? Why is that always talked about? You ask the average Black person, the everyday man and woman, what do Black people need to get for or to move forward? What do Black people need so they can survive? What do Black people need for progress? And the average person will tell you, we need more unity. We don't have any unity. We are so divided. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for 40 years, he stressed the need and the importance of Black unity. He worked day and night asking and pleading with our people to come together in some kind of unified effort. He used the term, unity is the key. He used that term also. But he made a statement. He said that our unity, our coming together, our unified effort is more powerful than the hydrogen or the nuclear, or not the nuclear, but the atomic and the hydrogen bomb. See, he made that statement back during the late 40s and early 50s, because at that time, the atomic bomb, the hydrogen bomb, was the most powerfulest explosive element that the American government or the American people had at their disposal. In fact, they dropped the atomic bomb on Japan in a place called Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And it literally devastated the areas that it was dropped on during that period and destroyed and killed thousands and thousands of people. And right today, they're still feeling the effects, or what they call the fallout, from that atomic bomb. Why did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad just use and say the atomic bomb or the hydrogen bomb? What are in those bombs that he could compare our unity to? Let me say something before I talk about that. He, Mr. Muhammad, who we believe met with God, that God gave him a plan for the black man and woman. He was so concerned about our unity. In one of his articles in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper that I carried, I sold that newspaper back in the 60s. The title was, "We Must Force Black Unity." He said, our unification, our survival is so important that we must force Black unity. When you force something, you put pressure. When you force something, you put strain on that thing. When you force something, you put all of your heart, soul, and body and your muscle into the thing to make sure that thing is working or is happening. He said we must force Black unity. And when you put pressure, you know, say, they used to have a saying in the Black community, some of you heard of it. They said, Negroes work better under pressure, but they use the N-word. That might be true. I don't know. It might be true. So he was so concerned with our lives, the lifestyle that we were living, and the conditions, the wretched condition that we were in. He said that we need to force Black unity under circumstances that would make us come together. Well, here we are today. I think we need to maybe force Black unity because we are living in a time when the government of the United States of America, if you're looking for them to change, they're not going to change. They want to stay in charge. They want to remain in a position of power and authority and control, not just over Black people, but over the different nationalities and the different nations in the world. Now, what I'm going to say today, brothers and sisters, hang with me a little bit here. What I'm going to say today will maybe upset some people. It's going to inspire some. It's going to give guidance to some. It's going to make others very disenchanted. But see, when you teach the truth, see, the truth is like a two-edged sword. It cuts both ways. It goes after all those that are guilty, and it goes after the righteous and the unrighteous. The truth, when the truth comes, it just cuts. It doesn't look at personalities. It doesn't look at your or concern with your feelings. Truth is direct. Truth is dominant. And truth is to give you the freedom of thought and movement that you need. And some of you may be upset and say, well, we may not let you come on anymore, Brother Minister Hawk. But that's all right. Because the truth has to be told. See, the truth is like a scalpel that a surgeon needs. Some of you that had maybe some kind of surgery, the scalpel. It's a sharp, small instrument, and it cuts. And when you look at it, it looks threatening. It looks, scary. But the surgeon understands that he has to use that instrument to cut in order to cure you of a cancer or the ailment that you may be suffering from in order to save your life. And that's why they put you under sometimes. They give you anesthesia. They give you gas. They give you all kind of sedatives to calm you down because you don't understand that you need this surgery in order to make you better and make sure that your life is contained and remain healthy. Okay, let us move on. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Allah. He used these two powerful elements called the atomic and the hydrogen because during that period, that was in the 50s. Now, what is atomic and why did he compare that to our unity? And that our unity was more powerful than that. An atomic bomb is comprised of nuclear fission or fusion. It's when you split the atom. And when you split an atom, which is one of the smallest, not the subatomic atom, but the atom is one of the most smallest elements in the universe. We are made up of atoms ourselves. This is true. When you split the atom, it opens up and it can cause an explosion, or you can contain it to use it either for good or for destruction. It has in it uranium and plutonium. Okay? It has neutrons and protons. That's in there. And it at the time, in the 50s, it was one of the most powerfulest elements that the white man had at his disposal. Well, today they got the nuclear bomb because they went a little more further. Let's understand that. He said that our unity, he was specifically talking to Black people, is more powerful than the atomic and the hydrogen bomb. Now, what about the hydrogen? Water that we drink is made of H2O. Hydrogen is one of the elements of it. Okay? And hydrogen has in it something that makes us and gives us it sustains our life. So hydrogen is nuclear fusion or fission. It is a tritonium of heat and pressure. There's that word, pressure. So those two elements, hydrogen and atomic, were at that time more powerful. So he was trying to emphasize to us that those two elements are very, very powerful. But your unity and the potential of that unity is more powerful than both of them. And he saw that was a need. And he was trying to make that comparison to let you know the need for unity and how it would affect your life in a more positive way. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Master Farad Muhammad, his teacher, who he said was God in person, had power over all those elements of the nuclear, the hydrogen, the atomic elements that's in the earth. He said he taught them of these things and how man could manipulate them and use them for the betterment of life and for our sustenance on this earth. Now we're talking about unity because, you know, Black people are always complaining that we need unity. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad also mentioned, he said our unity or unity for our survival is the key. What do you mean the key? Now, when you have a key, you have to unlock things. You just don't have a key. You know, some of us have different keys on our keychain that we can get into our house, we can get into our car, we can get into the shed, we can get into the garage, we can get into our job. You need a key. But every key doesn't fit into the garage. Every key doesn't fit in your front door. Some of the keys that you have, all of them can't fit into the same opening or the same keyhole. Everyone has a different shape and form. Now, what is the key that we need for our unity? Because a key fits into a lock. And if something is locked, you have to have the right key. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, Islam, as taught to him by God in person, is the key to unlock the sin-sick souls of the Black man and woman of America. And as long as we reject and not take that key and understand its use, then we will never have true unity among our people. All praises is due to Allah. See, every word that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used, he don't talk idle language. Everything he taught and taught to us or said to us was not something that's idle, just off the top of his head. He got that from God in person. Now, we are always talking about, oh, why can't we get together? We have different groups and different organizations in America, Black people. And we have the man on the street that I mentioned earlier. And we all saying it. We need unity. How come we don't have unity? And we're all pointing at each other, saying we don't have unity. Or you don't have unity. See, the reason why they can't get together because they don't have no unity. We in the Nation of Islam, we're pointing to Black people saying that we need to have unity. And the reason why Black people cannot make progress, this is us talking in the Nation of Islam, is that because they don't have unity. And another group of Black religious leaders are telling other Black groups, well, we don't have unity. The brother and sister that's working every day, that's trying to feed their family and clothe their children. They're saying that we can do better if we had unity. Now, who's right? Will a true unification organization stand up? Because we are all talking the same thing. We have come together, some of the brothers and sisters among the group that we belong, called the Muhammad Student of Islam United. And we said, what we need is operational unity. I'm going to get into that operation word in a minute. But let me give you some examples, because sometimes you have to paint a picture. You have to give an example of unity in operation. So you just can't throw out words. Words have meaning. Words have etymology that is rooted in the function of that word. And you have to understand that. Okay? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. And in 1957, in Montgomery, Alabama, Black people weren't allowed to sit in the front of the bus. If they were tired, if they had worked all day, this is the public transportation by the city of Montgomery, but in the state of Alabama. You heard the story about Rosa Parks, but this was all over the state. It was law. Negroes could not sit on the front of the bus. I'm going to show you an example of operation or operational unity. If you were sitting there, you paid your money, and you were sitting in a seat and 2 or 3 white people got on, you had to get up. They would say, Negro or nigger, you got to get up and get in the back of the bus. So they organized, they unified, and they told the bus company, they told the city council, they told the city officials that we're not gonna no longer be pushed to the back of the bus. We paid our money, we're gonna sit anywhere we want. And this is when they had they took Rosa Parks, got on the bus coming from work, but they planned that, they organized that she didn't just get on that day. That was planned. And she said, I'm not getting up. The bus driver told her to get up or else she would be arrested. She was eventually arrested, taken to jail, and charged with the law that they had. So the people, along with Dr. Martin Luther King, organized the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott. And for close over a year, let me go back a little bit. They unified together. They set up carpools. Some people walked to work. Some people rode bikes. And they refused to ride those buses. They unified. They had what was called operational unity. And they didn't ride those buses for over a year. The bus company went out of business because that bus company rode to the Black community, and the Black community paid thousands of dollars a year for that bus company to operate. That is an example of operational unity, and they were successful. The only thing they wasn't successful is what they should have done if they were following the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They would have opened up their own bus company and didn't have to wait for the white man to allow them to ride the bus. They got back on the bus. They sat anywhere they wanted to. But they still had to pay the white man to ride on that bus. But I just wanted to give you that example. That was operational unity, or unity in operation. Let me give you another example. In China, many years ago, they were plagued by thousands of flies that were carrying all kinds of diseases. And those flies was everywhere, all over the province, the villages. There was a call made. Men, women, and children, the whole area, the whole community came out by the thousands. and they came with swats. They came with anything that they could kill those flies with. They organized in an operational method. They had what was called operational unity, and they went out by the thousands and they killed every fly that they can find. And after several days, there was no more flies. You know, a fly is one of the most filthiest insects because they land and eat on everything that's in their a path to eat. And they got rid of every one of those flies. That's unity and operation and operational unity. All praises due to Allah. Those are good examples, right? Simple things, basic, but it shows what unity can do when you come together. Let me tell you what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he used to write articles in the Pittsburgh Courier in the 1940s and 50s, in the Baltimore African American newspaper, in the New York Amsterdam News, and the and Chicago black newspapers. And these articles eventually became, some of the articles became subjects or chapters in the book that we have called The Message to the Black Man in America That You Need to Get. Let me read in a book called The Islamic World, An Invincible Truth, Volume 2, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's New York Amsterdam News article collections. Now, something that he wrote concerning unity, very important. Just give me a minute. He wrote, he said, the title of it was United Black Nation. He said, we are so disunited in our purpose and aim that it appears at first hopeless for the soul to solve our problem. Let me read that again to make it clear, brothers and sisters. He said, we are so disunited, talking about black people, in our purpose and aim that it may appear, not that it's real, it may appear at first hopeless to solve our problem. He said, we are so disunited in our aims and purpose that it looks so hopeless. That's what he said. But he pointed out that, therefore, when God, he gives you an example. He doesn't speak out of words. He gives an example. He said, Jehovah called Moses to unite his people and lead them forth out of the land of the Egyptians, and many of the Israelites for whom Moses was raised up opposed Moses. See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we believe, and we stand on that, was raised up by God in person, just like Moses was raised for the Israelites. And Moses unified the Israelites and led them out of Egypt. But many of the Israelites that he led into the promised land opposed him. They talked about him. They doubted him. How do you doubt someone that literally gave you freedom, justice, and equality and showed you the path? Something is wrong there. And you say you want unity? And God sent you a man with the plan not only to unite you, but maintain your unity and make you successful. Many of you that are still living today that was around saw the progress in the operational unity that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made. He gave us thousands and thousands of acres of farmland. We had the only black printing press in America. No other one or no other group had that. He was negotiating and planning and had the money to build a 200-bed hospital on the south side of Chicago. And like Moses was opposed by the Israelites that he was trying to free, the black man and black people in Chicago opposed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You see the parallel? So do you really want unity? The man gave us thousands and thousands of jobs. He had a fish program that was that had brought in millions of pounds of fish every year. And all of our brothers and sisters was employed. And he just didn't employ the members of the Nation of Islam. Every black person that sought and wanted a job, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad offered that job to them. That's what the kind of man, that's the kind of man he was. He was so humble. Humble man. Even his fiercest critics said Elijah Muhammad was one of the most humble and noble men that you can meet. He was so humble, he would offer to many of the black leaders at that time. He said, let us all come together and set aside our differences and come together united operationally for the salvation and the liberation of our people. And if he said, your plan is better than mine, I will follow you. See? But he knew they didn't have the plan. He knew it, but he was humble enough to offer them that. See, because he knew that God already gave him the plan. Already given it to him, but he wanted to see what they were going to do. See, that's a man that's confident and had deep faith in God and knew that Allah would be on his side to the very end. It's like a martial art man, Bruce Lee. You know Bruce Lee. See? Bruce Lee was humble. Bruce Lee knew Kung Fu. Bruce Lee would walk into an arena knowing and wasn't arrogant, but knowing that he could beat his opponent, but he was humble because he knew that he could snatch your jugular vein out. He can break you in half. He knew that. So he didn't have to boast. He didn't have to come in like a gangster. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad similarly knew that God was backing him, and Bruce Lee knew he had the major art. He had the superior art to take his opponent out. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad likewise knew that God had given a plan, but he wanted to show us that unity was most important. Let me move on, brothers and sisters, because I want to get through this here, but I want you to understand this whole question of unity and why it's so important and why we haven't got together yet. We talked about Operation Unity. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught one year, he said, operation on a nation in his Savior's Day speech. He said, an operation on a nation. What is an operation? What does an operation mean? What is the components of an operation? And why did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he wanted to operate on a nation? The whole black nation, not just the Nation of Islam, he was talking about that too, because he saw something that needed to be done. Now, what is an operation? Stick with me, brothers and sisters, for a few more minutes. An operation is a process, a working function, a procedure, surgically, mathematically, of a calculation that needed to be done to save a patient from possible death. That's what an operation, when we say operation, you got to operate. We say operational unity. Well, what is an operation? I just explained to you. It's a process. It's a procedure. It's surgical. But first of all, you have to know what the ill is. What's the problem? You have to have a diagnosis. How do you find a diagnosis? You have to do an analysis. You have to have the knowledge of where the disease is. You have to have a understanding mathematically and a calculation of what is the patient is suffering from. You have to go through different tests. You've been to the doctor. They said we have to do a test. I'm going to get an operation on my tooth in a couple of weeks. I sat down and had a consultation. I sat down with the surgeon. He explained to me what he had to do, and he asked me various questions. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, an operation on the nation. What's wrong with you? Why do you need an operation? Why can't you unite? What's wrong with you? What's the problem? We've been here 40 years and we're still talking about why we can't get together and that we don't have any unity. Something is wrong with this patient. Let me read something else Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about unity. He said, we must unite and qualify for self-independence, for Allah's earth is vast. Let me say that again. He said, we must unite. We must. It's no here nor there. We must unite. There is no other means or methods. We must do this here. It's without a doubt. We must unite and qualify for self-independence, for Allah's earth is vast. He was trying to get us to be independent. Look today, brothers and sisters, we cannot depend on the white man's world to give us and take care of us. Look at Spirit Airlines, just closed down. 15,000 employees are unemployed now. People without their jobs. People don't know where their next possibly employment is coming from. We can't depend on that. What if tomorrow a lot of our people are working in Amazon? What if they shut down? What if there's a domino effect and all the airlines begin to fold? What are you going to do? Some of us are working there. What about all the jobs that we are on with the white man? What if he shut them down? Where you going, black man? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we must unite for self-independence, for the earth is vast. What do you mean the earth is vast? It means that the earth has many riches. The earth has many, many minerals. The earth could give you whatever you want, but you have to go to the earth and pull it out. The earth is vast. The earth, for the wide work man to work out in, is there for you. That's right. And I wanted to mention something, but I'm going to save this here part in a few minutes. We're going to talk about this because we need to get to the conclusion why we can't unite. We're about to come to some conclusions now. The messenger talked about the atomic bomb and the hydrogen bomb. And our unity is more powerful than both of them. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad also mentioned that one of the reasons why it's so hard for our people to unite is we don't respect Black leadership. If a Black man comes before you, sincere, he has a plan, we want to criticize him. We want to tear another brother down. We don't respect another brother. We rather respect a white man's way of thinking than your own brother. And the Black leadership, some of them are against other Black leaders that's trying to do the same thing that he's doing. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been hammering this call for unity. He hammered that year after year after year, to the point where in 1974, he called hundreds of Black professionals, Black leaders, into his home. I believe that's where they had the meeting. And many of them came from New York City, where I was born and raised. And he said, I've been waiting for y'all for the last 40 years. He asked them to come together. He said, put aside your differences. I know some of y'all smoke. He knew that. Some of them are still snorting coke. Some of them had women on the side. He wasn't dealing with that. He was dealing with our unity and the need for our unity to be in operation to make us an independent people. Okay? This is why I mentioned earlier about Black unity. We have to come to some serious, what you call, dialogue. Deliberate dialogue. That means that it has to be done deliberately. It has to be done without question and open and transparency. That's the only way we will come to some type of conclusion, because we're still talking about unity and that we are disunified. If you listen to white people, I listen to white talk radio sometimes. I never hear white people say, oh, we are disunited, we can't get together. I've been among Asians. I don't ever heard them talking, oh, the Asian community dissatisfied. I grew up among Italians in the neighborhood that I was raised in. Jews, you ever hear them complaining that they don't have unity? They got differences among each other. They got difference of thought and process and mythology. But do you ever hear them say that they are disunified? Because among them, there's an element, because they know their language. They know their culture. They know who their God is. They know their origins in the world. So they don't have to talk that. Because they are confident. And they know that their unity is necessary to sustain them and to maintain their independence in this country. We accuse each other of not being unified. Let me say this here. There are different, I don't want to say splinter groups, but different branches of the Nation of Islam. You're a branch. The reason why I use the word branch or branches is because a branch is connected to the tree. The tree is really the root from which the branch comes from. Our root is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of Islam as taught by him that was given and offered to him by God in person, Master W.D. Farad Muhammad. There's different branches of the Nation of Islam. And you know what? All of us are claiming and telling Black people that they need to be unified, but none of us are unified. That's a contradiction. How are we going to tell someone else to be unified and condemn them and we're not unified? And I include myself. This is true. When I met Minister Basir Muhammad, great Black man, confident follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a devoted Muslim who came in the Nation of Islam in the early 50s and one of the chief ministers on the west coast of America in California and Texas and Tennessee and Louisiana. He taught in all those places. When I met him, he was talking about divine unity. And I said, Brother Minister, I love it. Because that's what I always wanted. But I said, Brother Minister, there cannot be unity without truth. Because many of his subjects was based on divine unity. That's right. Unity has to have some divinity in it. It has to come from God. But I'm going to get with you about God and that unity that is from God. But I said it has to be truth. And he started after that. He agreed with me. And his subjects would be truth will unite us. Okay? Truth will unite us. That element of truth has to be there. Because if you don't put the truth in front, then you hide in the truth. And people cannot be clear on why they're coming together. We just don't come together. People just, we ain't just hanging out. We ain't just chilling together. It has to be a purpose for our unity. All of us came up in the street, or some of us came from different walks of life. You hung out with people. You went to clubs. You went to vacation with people. You were just socializing. But was that true unity? Because after you went home, you went right back to a non-operational unity. That was just socializing. We need true unity. All praises are due to Allah, brothers and sisters. We need to know why we cannot unify. Look at the average Black people on the street that I mentioned earlier. They want unity, but some of them don't know how to get it. And once they get it, they don't know how to maintain it. Because unity is just not a one-time thing to say that we came together and we had a meeting. But it has to be obtained and maintained. And there's work involved in that, brothers and sisters. Now, bear with me just a few more minutes, brothers and sisters, because we're going to get to the end. And then we're going to answer some questions or put some questions. And you might have the answer. It might be in you. And like I said earlier, I'm going to say some things. It's going to be like a sword. It's going to make some people angry. It's going to make some people happy. Some of it going to feel threatening, and some of it is going to be enlightening. As I said earlier, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad hammered this call for unity year after year. And this is why the scripture said, as the light shining into the darkness, but the darkness comprehended it not. He shined the light and gave us the method for divine unity into the dark minds of the Black people in America. But because they were so opposed to this man, because he wasn't a white man, they comprehended or couldn't comprehend what he was trying to tell them. In the darkness, comprehended it not. What is missing? What is missing in this call for unity, or this inability to unify our people here in America? I'm talking to Black people. If you can hear my voice, brothers and sisters. I walked down the street in my neighborhood and they all, they call me Brother Ron. They said, Brother Ron, why can't our people get together? Could you do, they put it all on me. They want me to do everything. I don't understand them. They want me to do everything, but they don't know and understand the power is in them. They complain about the Chinese restaurants, how they disrespect them, how they don't give them jobs. They complain about their children being miseducated in the public schools. They complain about their white boss and employers on the job not giving them advancement. They're complaining all the time, but they don't understand that they just came together in an operational unity that they can solve every one of those problems. You can open up your own restaurant. You can open up your own school. You can homeschool your children. You can create your own job and give you all kinds of raises. You can give you a raise every day. But you have to unify. Now, why is this ability or move to seek unity is not working, or it's taken so long? Let's look at a woman. If a woman is pregnant and she keeps having miscarriages, let's use that as an example. A child is growing in the womb of a woman, but after a certain period, she cannot hold that child. The child cannot be held, the embryo. That baby in that womb drops, and they call it a miscarriage. You heard the term in the course, a miscarriage of justice, a miscarriage of truth. Why year after year the woman cannot hold that child and she's constantly having miscarriages? Look at the word miscarriage first. It's a miscarriage is a chromosomal abnormality. It's you have chromosomes in your body, X, Y, and so forth. But a miscarriage, when something is abnormal, the systems by which the child has to maintain, develop, and evolve inside the woman's womb, something is weak. Something is not right. It's abnormal. The normal process cannot go forward. So she loses the child. She goes to a gynecologist, or what they call a GYN. And the GYN or the gynecologist tells her, well, this is happening. You can't hold the child because maybe a part of your womb is not able to carry that child, or there's some chemicals or materials there that's not adequate enough to hold that child. Something is missing. Likewise, our unity, why can't we hold that unity together? Why can't we come together? Are we like that woman that's carrying the baby? We keep having a miscarriage. Something in our makeup, something in our a system of coming together is not working. It's possible. It's possible for unity because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we need divine unity, a unity from God. But it has to be operational. It has to be continuous. You have to work towards that and to maintain it. And we complain. But before I say that, before we talk about the complaining, this is why in the book of Psalms, it says how beautiful it is, how wonderful it is for brethren and sisters to come together to dwell in unity together. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Sometimes we have family reunions. Sometimes all the homeboys that grew up together, we get in the park. Everybody start kicking what we did when we were growing up, all the women that we had, all the games that we played. Remember the stuff that we used to do? But is that sufficient enough? That's nice. I've been to those kind of things. It's beautiful. But what does that have to do with the salvation and the liberation of our people and the control that we need to make our communities developing in a way that's beneficial positively for our everyday life, for our children and our grandchildren? What does all that mean? And we sound, yes, we do. We sound like Ezekiel's vision of the dry bones in the valley. The bones were set down in a valley. Valley is a low place, a bottom place. And the bones were down there, and the bones were talking to each other. Oh, we are so disunited. We can't come together. Does that sound familiar? That's how we sound. But for when Ezekiel had the vision and God set the Son of Man down in the valley, he told him to blow on the dry bones. Blow the four winds on the dry bones, which means that it has to be circumstances. You got to feel chastisement. You got to feel pain. That's why we used to say Negroes work better under pressure. When that pressure is put, you realize that all the stuff that you had against your brothers and sisters, you got to put aside. And you got to come together. You got to come together for your survival. Something is missing. One thing is missing, that we didn't listen to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He had the plan. He came with the plan. The plan is still obtainable. It's in all of his books. Message to the Black man in America. How to Eat to Live 1 and 2. Our Savior has arrived. The fall of America and all the articles and the speeches that he made, it is right in there, brothers and sisters. This light is shining into your darkness, but you are perceiving it not. You know what? Maybe some things don't need to be unified. That's a question. We blaming each other on not being unified. Black people. Maybe Allah is not setting the positions to have us unified. Maybe he's preventative to chastise us. Maybe we can't come together because Allah is putting a hold on it. God has that. He may not see us ready, and it may not be in our hearts. He might be holding up that unification. You ever think about it? What is the ingredients that God may be holding for us to unify? But we listen to the white man, but we don't listen to what God has given us. As I near my conclusion, brothers and sisters, our unity is more powerful than the atomic or hydrogen bomb. See, we're listening to the white man. The messenger said that in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. But we listen to the white man, and now we're faced, brothers and sisters, with all kind of adversity. The white man is taking your jobs, he's taking your DEI, diversity, inclusion into his world, into his businesses, diversity, equity, and inclusion. You're crying that he's taking that from you, but you listened to him, and you didn't listen to God's man. So you're faced now with the ultimate condition and position. And you listen to the devil. Yeah, we call them the devil. We don't call them names like pigs and honkies. We call them what God said he was. The white man is the devil. And that's not name calling. We're talking about a nature of an individual and a people. But you listen to him, and this is what he says to you. The Holy Quran, in chapter 14, under the title Abraham, truth is confirmed. You listen what the devil says, that God said. And the devil will say to you, when the matter is decided, when it comes down, when all hits the fan, he says, surely Allah promised you a promise of truth. This is God promised you of truth. Promising that if you stood fast and that you believe in his messengers, that he would give you the solution for unity. And Allah says, surely I promise you a promise of truth. And I promise you, then you failed after he given you the truth, after he sent to you a messenger. And the devil says, and this is the devil talking, and I had no authority over you, except that I called you and you obeyed me. Let me read this one more time. And the devil was saying to us, and the white man says that. He's saying it in many ways. He said, a matter had been decided. A situation was decided. A condition was decided. Surely Allah promised you a promise of truth. The devil even knows that. They used to tell the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that all the time. They said, Mr. Muhammad, white people, wise white people, white scientists. He said, we know you got the solution for your problem, for your people's problem, but they ain't going to listen to you. They're going to listen to me. So the devil says, surely Allah promised you a promise of truth. And I promise you, the devil said, also, I promise you, and then failed you, tricked you, deceived you. And I had no authority over you, except that I called you and you came. You accepted my world. Look how we are today now as a result of that. Let me lastly say what the messenger said that could be, and I believe it is, missing in this thing that we're trying to achieve called unity, and that's why it's not happening. This is what Mr. Muhammad said. He said, this you must know. Unity is a result of love and respect for one's own and others. We cannot expect love, unity, and respect from others until we have those things ourselves. This you must know as I conclude, brothers and sisters. Unity is a result of our love, unity, and respect for others. Until we have these things for ourselves, we will not achieve true unity. You know what he was saying? In that quest, in that journey for unity, that love, that is the main ingredient to unify us, is missing. And if we don't have that, we will never unify. And Islam, as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, will give us that love. But it has to be operational and sincere. And brothers and sisters, with that, I close as I came to you in the name of Allah and in the name of his messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet you in the greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, thank you for listening to me. I pray, Allah, that you learned something from what I said. I hope I haven't disturbed or disrespected anybody. I love my people, despite all of our differences, but I don't love what we do to each other and how we treat each other and how we exploit each other. But I pray, Allah, that you have learned and gained something from these words that we gave that comes from the brothers and sisters of Muhammad's Temple of Islam United. And thank you. So I ask you, brothers and sisters, make sure that you listen to the information that's going to be given to you after this, after we close out. Very important information that you can use to help unite with us or unite with whoever you want to unite with. But we're asking you to unite with us because we believe that we can offer you something. And we ask that you, whatever you have, you can help us because none of our people, all of our people have something that they can help with. So I ask you to join us in the Muslim closing prayer so we can move on and you can go and do what you have to do for the rest of the day. Join us. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we beseech for aid. Guide us along the right path, along the path of those who thou hast bestowed favors, but not along the path of those whom thy wrath is brought down, nor along those who go astray. Say he, Allah, is one God. Allah is he whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets not, nor is he begotten, that there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be praised or worshipped besides Allah, who came in the person of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his true servant and messenger. Amen.